manjone jesunda kodo kando mambe chejin jesunda ndoje chinje la che shesoso guru me masinde o nye yulje no janza pe mange zandong bola yanzen jogi mundu nye pe manjone jesunda kondo mando mandengo nye jesunda nye jinye la che shesusu guru me masinde nye yuge no jansa me mange zandong bola yanzen chogi mundu nye be manjone shizunda kodo mando mamdengo yeje jezunda ndunje jinje alaje jesuso guru me masinde bonjo sanlan jache devan de so ja dove ke la che ra san chang ju ge so san je che dan zong jo la chang ju dan jan che ran shen de ne ran du che chang ju cho ge sen ne yen ban ye chang ju cho ge sen ne ge ge ne sen jen nam je ta bien dong do ne chang ju ju jo ye on chen ban ye do la men je san jen du ba jo sa chi be je jo me do da re ra len je nyen de jen ban de san je jen do ne de bo ba ye do ma na jem ra jo ra guru re na men dal uza men ga samanda samarana samaya sanjanam ye sambata loye cheta chedava chechon de monte baye chejin kholong guru so oh yeah.
manifestation or its dynamic projection came up. So when this projection was there, then Samantabhadra, the primordial Buddha, was able to recognize that this was the display of the primordial ground, and so he was not distracted, or this illusion didn't happen to him. So likewise, so that then at that moment he was enlightened, and then all the accumulation of merit, all the purification was in one instant, and then like he death, so a person has to undergo some sufferings. So that is the second Bardo state. And then the third Bardo is ShiTro Bardo. So that is the Dharma Dhatu Bardo of the peaceful and wrathful deities. And then is called the Siddhi Bardo, or the Bardo of existence. So these are the four Bardos.
On hetur chi shen ngaren shitong hen na she chi Bardo samsere. Ya she ne de ma he. De ya she do ma he patel Bardo se hiores.
So another way of interpreting the Bardo state is now we can group into birth, death, and the Bardo state. So a person after the death until taking the another form of being's rebirth. So to that extent, a person is said to be in the Bardo state.
Tene teren heju Bardo yi. Dangon jute he hiores. So inone tombo ronji shene ju Bardo yore telita chigere sena shene ju Bardo teli hiji treta cheba tija thonde ju bata dangas. Tija sem chira sha. Tua sem kukuma dran hun trandu chen. Tide ke ta penna ko lochi jinduchi shene kana drame chedta. Tene samado sondo soma dede chichi se na ta sono dore ne tsuchra mimsete ko tradicha soma chi se hiore shatwa semte ta tangre na ronji ji pado se ne tene ta chi drivi ta ti liten di thole tene se ne ji pado se di thole tesang ganse se ne hina hi chocho pado de Gana gar cho change, Tija Tondi Jupata, Danga Gyatso.
So the first Bardo state is called Rangshin Kenege Bardo, is the natural Bardo of the birth. So this Bardo, here what the instruction that is given is now there is a bird, and before this called Chika, and then this bird is before the bird makes the nest. So then the bird is very clever, and the bird looks the location and then looks at how where he can get the food and where this nest can be free from any of the harms or any other physical any other harms or predators. So by looking at all these conditions, then the bird makes the nest. So likewise here in this Kene Bardo, or the Bardo of our life, here what we have to do is now, as we have all the disposition or to practice at our hand, so we must listen to the Dharma, contemplate the Dharma, and meditate on the Dharma. And through this practicing of the Dharma, so what we do is now we prepare ourselves fully for the time of death.
Hotere, Tachi Gere Senam Litin di Aya Tanjo Jimili Rinpoche, Tari Lema Chite Nyayores, Nosa Nong Julitane. They indeed at Senden Lama Yontabahi Tegris. Don't be chill Yontabahi Tegris. Oh, yeah.
So now in this Kene Bardo, so we have this precious human rebirth with all the freedoms and endowments. So as we have this because of our past merit, so what we have to do is now we must find an authentic master so that we can practice an authentic Dharma teaching.
That Tambi Che Tela, Nomba Sonji Biche Tela, Rilam, Nielam, Nulan Soy here. The Gizet and Gonzalo Russo, Unborn Dayora, Kaki Nulan Dona Dutunke, Kaki, Rilan Ten, Dream, Matunilan, Donulan Giton, and Roma Tunke. Oya Kaki Nulanza, Nielanza. That's it, Sena, Kaki Rilansena, Dolani Huse, Tromes Della Sopa, Tromeso La Sopa, Tene Sonjico Hodre here. Daniel Sena Songa, ShiTro de Son Mitse Chudula Sopa Letene, Tridon Sondra did Shobashene, Tene Sonjico Hodre here. Daniel Sena Maha Anu Ate, Chepa, the Zoba Chembichen, Salona, Lodon, Davesirite. Now, Gonza, Tela, Umbaran, Tasseri, Mitsechi, Sonji, Kohon to the chairs. That tends some Konrohi, Danka Shegi here. Ronroso si, Umbadon Tumba, Chete, Drugi here.
So then these precious Dharma teachings, so they can be grouped into the path which is which takes a longer time, and the path which is a short path, and then a swift path. So all these different kinds of Dharma teachings were given depending upon the different faculties and different dispositions of all various sentient beings. So that's why we have all these Dharma teachings. And here when we talk about the longer path, so it's like the path of the Sutra and the teachings. So according to the Sutra and the teachings, it said that a person can get enlightened either in the like practicing for 3 countless eons or 7 countless eons, and then finally get enlightened. So that's this path is called the longer path, and then the shorter path is the outer tantras. So according to the outer tantra teachings, it said that a person can get enlightened within 16 lifetimes or 7 lifetimes, like that. So those the teachings of the outer tantras is called as the near path, and the swift path is the inner tantras, the Maha, Anu and Ati tantras, and especially in the Ati Yoga teachings is said that a person who practices Ati Yoga can get liberated either in 1 month or 6 months or at least within this one lifetime. And there also is said that depending, there also the practitioner, the Ati Yoga practitioner or the Dzogchen practitioners also have different faculties. So depending upon our various faculties and dispositions, so people take different times to get enlightened.
Che teon te sang gang sang sere tombo lami chenyi do dembindo na tombo tsu che te tsur hyugi hyare che mate ba roni ke che hyoto chodong shi ge jena ka hi chi se do mani se de se tendre shi songha ge che du ji yong ge pa nyao su len na ne ten songha roni len ba ne no la roni len do tsung se ne 당에 붙잡아 찍고 셔는 다림베 될 신라메 비토를 이바온 here 대인디 토말 테스 라마 세년도 댐비는 저 당아티 휴그레스 돈도 제그레스 바디 티탄테 상그레스 타테 상찬네 다시 셰찬네 대냥래시 강그레스 테상 강스시 첸델 냐스레나 테네 냥랜도 tum바게 라 첸델 토지린 림파돌 토리
So then these teachings, now how to practice this teaching is first we must listen to the teachings and then contemplate and then do the meditation. So here when we say that we must listen to the teachings is now, so we can get the teachings from the books and various scriptures, but the real instructions or the transmission has to come from an authentic master, especially in the Vajrayana teachings. So if we just read the Vajrayana text without the guidance of an authentic master, then it is said that it's like stealing some other's property, so that won't be any benefit. So here what we have to do is first we must listen to these teachings from an authentic master. Then after listening that, then we must do the contemplation. And then when we have the certainty of the teachings or the confidence on the teachings, then we have to do the meditation. So if we practice in this way, then it is said that a person with a superior faculty can get enlightened in this lifetime, or the intermediate one can get enlightened in the Bardo state, and at least the least faculty one can be enlightened in the next life.
Tena tomba hendu mare kaba tombole tsend trui gongsa de hachong mombore gurumboche penchen bema metra hirsa laso pa jagar gi kasetu ba to ba jali to ba jali mi hi phoa chembu kunyi ba kaseshan bole nyombe tenzin sombo jetun singong shu laso ba to ta khonshu kerel jali to ba chongchong bon tershan re 다 시나니 게니 로 텐자리 지드르 히어레 다 시동 대 동바 헤디 히어마르 첸델 조지테 통진은주르 히어레스.
So now to get liberated in one lifetime is now not something which is just an historical or just made up. So in the past times, like Guru Rinpoche, Vimala Mitra and Shri Singha, through their practice, so they were able to achieve rainbow light body within one lifetime. So not only the rainbow light body, but also the Jelu Pochen, the great rainbow light body. So likewise, if we think about how the practitioners achieved enlightenment in one lifetime in Tibet is now Nyangben Tenzin Zangbo, and then Chetun, also all this person. And then it said that especially in Kham area, like there were 100,000 practitioners who were able to achieve the rainbow light body. Then it said that in near like couple of years ago in Kham area, so there was one practitioner who achieved the rainbow light body. So that is the recent account. So in this way, so we have some proof, substantial proof that if we practice, then we can achieve enlightenment in this lifetime.
Ta tele sene Bardo sir tata ya shene jiten tsende ne pi rinle ta nrochi she ju tradi she ju teja song ju pi danga chi oya ta pele tampe yore tombo shelu zong ge Bardo thalu zong ge tama hilu zong ge ni ran ren ta sen yore oya ni rama ji na ta tombo shelu ya bo Bardo ne lu ya mo ta hilu ya bo she mi ji rinbo ina te ta du ba na ya she du te la tsende la che che o man ji den o man ta nga ma hin ro ya nya wa do ji den ma tun ro sa me ten ra re jo me le ran ren ta se yore ta yan ro man ju sa san ta ga sa ji ju sa ta ti li ten de re ti tho le dang nga te yong ta ba ji nyao se le na te ni shen le pa do te chen ro hi yore te ke gar thu hi yore.
So this Gene Bardo is now till from the birth to till we die. So that part is called the Gene Bardo. So here, so what we have to do is now we must make the best use of this great fortunate fortunate thing that we have in our disposition. So in Tibet it said that how a best person can be is now at the time of birth also it can be a very a good way of being born, and then in the intermediate state also good way of living, and then even when we die also there's a good way of passing away. So a person with better faculty is able to do like live peacefully and die peacefully, and so if the person don't have this faculty and all this merit, so people when they are born also they are born in a not in a favorable condition, and then even when they die, so they have to be born in Vajra hell. So here in this how to make use of this fortunate time, this precious time is for example is like if we have a horse, and then if we have the rope at our hand, then we can lead the horse to wherever we want to go. So likewise here also, as we have all this time and all these conditions at our disposition, so in this Gene Bardo, what we have to do is we must make the best use of this precious time. So if we are able to get enlightened in this lifetime, then we don't have to undergo the other Bardo states. So that's called being liberated in one lifetime. So a person who is not able to liberate in this one lifetime, so at the time of death, so that is the Bardo of the death, where the person has to undergo many sufferings.
Ta chika dungar ji Bardo tele chere sena lipo ten jonga gel tayara tombo ya chadi sakhan khakhan sare chokhan chure chokhan mere uji khan lore na hiji khan na ka do sekhiore te indin jonga ngala te khiore Bardo ne du jonga ngate cha nyana ne me dame abore khio jonga te cha manya ne don dan khiore ta khin ro dio Njujite, Zukante, Trune, take a pomegeo, take here, sir. Lipoke Malover.
So this our body, which made of flesh and bones. So at the time of birth also, it was being bound by these 5 elements. Like we have the flesh, which is the mainly produced from the earth, and then the blood from from the water, and likewise, so all these 5 elements so makes our at the time of our birth. So it was the main element that gave birth, and then when we leave. So if all these 5 elements are in proper proportions and in proper order, so we have a healthy life. And then if they are not in proper proportions, then we have all this sickness, disease, and then when these 5 elements deteriorate, and then they are not able to sustain the life, so then a person has to die.
Oh yeah, tene chenlomba phacha theriba da bo jongjora libo chali khejre khedara kanresi khejra ta libo le za do lung khe zo chewa ten du khire dei ka sul de lung de chen du shi do do re ten libo le shi dong lung la nga yo khie so de lung nga de le lung do do re tene za long lu ju lu me re ne de do do re tene Menyang long said chundra here. They chew ta tele, then say Kaze Yigale Mo Manju. Liputania, Trena, ya Dora here is.
So as you all know in science, so you know how our body functions, but here, so mainly our body is functioning because of the channels and the wind that we have, or the energy that we have. So here, when during the time of death, what is exhausted is called the lelung, or the karmic wind, or the energy. So that gets exhausted. So when that gets exhausted, so this again, so there are 5 different energies there. So when the first energy is being now reduced, so then the next energy called menyam. So that's like the fire energy, maybe is also getting like not functioning within our body. So at that time, then we don't have this appetite, and then we don't feel like eating and drinking. So now here, as Rinpoche has been brought up in Tibet, and he don't know science. So if you want to teach this according to the scientific ideas, then he's saying that he cannot teach in this way. And then if you have to teach depending upon the sutras and tantras, then he's able to teach. So if his teachings is not relevant to you all, so he's asking your apologies. So then there is another energy called wind, called Sokzin Gilung. That is the energy that sustains our life. So when that deteriorates, then what happens is now our consciousness becomes unstable, and then also all sorts of delusions or comes up. So then there is another energy called Thursel Gilung, is now where it works with our lower our organs, and when this deteriorates, then the person is not able to control the urine and control the feces. And there's another energy called Chenju Yilung, is like the energy that moves upward. So when this energy deteriorates, then the person, the breath becomes shorter, and is not able to move that much.
Charge gelong don re lipong go chu je me to zan to don here is.
So there is another energy called charjet gelung. So when this again like repels or vanishes, then the person is not able to move our limbs and not able to make much movements.
Then charge lipo le charge kong de ara charge kholo na hi won here. Charge kholo na hi ne lung teo tene jolang te menro di ten samba yen de pena tombo te ta khar te hi won here is. Te ka so lin de je je long te dress na ta do de here is.
So then, so with this deteriorating of the wind energy, then also the chakras also now deteriorate. So it starts with the chakra at the navel, and when this chakra also deteriorates, then the wind energy also exhausts at the same time.
Then Jungi Temple said, Jerison, they got Sakam de Chulitum Rosso. Then they timbi tali, Shinon song yi ta sengari, Shitali, that lipole to humije, Genji can gomacha, Komba ke libicha, Lapa ke Samanta Chala Pori and Chomicham Tenda here is.
So these are called that the dissolving of the 5 elements. So when the water element dissolves into the earth element, then there are 3 signs: the outer sign, the inner, and the secret signs. So as the outer sign, then we have that our body becomes very weak, that our neck is not able to uphold our head, and then our legs are not able to carry our body.
Take us Mundo te Mohammed Rejudo, Sol Trima Charge, Catch and Hajanat Matum, Kodroma, and Radis, the she daughter.
Then, so the face also becomes pale, and then there is some kind of like our teeth also. There is some dark deposition coming up, and then and also there is no much of the outer movement.
Oh, then Nongi thought the Cheresena, then the Hepa, the Shimutu Jumoma Ginoasha. Then the Lapaya Yuma, you send the Tangaya Long Seman, Nimon Machu Nocha, to Nocha, Nakea can't say, Nidoya Chente syndrome, Tendare here is.
So as the inner sign of this dissolving of the element, then our consciousness becomes unstable, and then the person says that either to take off the blanket or to cover up the blanket, and then the legs and arms move, and then even the eyelid also tends to move, look upward.
Then no tare, so it also was Midtabuji, no account here.
So as the secret sign, so then there is a luminous appearance like that of a mirage.
That teaches Len Tan Hinga Getakurhi. They on the Hinka Sakurhi or a Trondon shape belongs them to train the hearers. The Castle or Trondon shape belong training, Chukam, the Melatemdros.
So then the next chakra that deteriorates is the chakra of our heart. So at that time, then there is the energy which makes our body more of the cherishma. That is that energy is lost.
Shital Kachin Hanachi, that Kachin and the Kano Channel, Gamjim Dudo. Then not my count juice him. Jet tung ren, jet the achom terminus. That and Rajikajuris.
So the as the outer sign, so there then like the being or the person feels dryness in his mouth, and then he also feels that his tongue is becoming dry and is also like becoming shortened, and then also the nose also there's some signs like it's like going inward.
Then no toss, no guitani, hipa, tsubasa. So we thought Tuata Sir Charles.
Then, as the inner sign is now, the person becomes more like sensitive and becomes very angry and more agitating. And as the secret sign, so then the person sees some illusions or some delusions like the smoke coming up.
Oh yeah, then Tandrimba Gitangurhi. They got so let Tonhin JP long tray. Oh yeah, Tonhin JP long train, then may count a long term rose.
So then afterwards, the chakra of our heart again deteriorates. So there, at that time, then the energy that differentiates between the vital part or the vital fluid and then all these like byproducts that are not necessary in our body. So this the energy that differentiates the vital fluid and then the other toxics. So this energy becomes deteriorated, and at that so there at that moment also the fire element dissolves into the wind element.
Then Mekanlola Tembi Chenke Cardon Nag Unang Trongere. Liponongi Trong Turte Shonet and a Lompa Surjuju. Combanea Turtana Dujundru. That's Shatat and Round No Tasu, no he me he said. Shirogun Noano, Sabu Miheba. Gares Hipa Salala, Kangar Mihim and Dari Juris. So
then, as the outer sign of this, then the person feels like there's no much heat and then also feels that there's some vapor coming out from our body, and also like the heat loses from our feet. And then as the inner sign of this dissolution, so then people our consciousness becomes very dull, and then so there's like sort of a dream state where our consciousness is not very clear.
That's only also simple message.
So as the secret sign of this dissolution, then we see that there are like the glowworms, like lots of glowworms being seen outside.
That so here.
So at that time, the chakra of our secret place is also deteriorating. So at that time, the kalpa legilung also ceased. So at that time, the wind energy dissolves into the consciousness.
So
So at that time, the like outer signs are now people can breathe out for long, like out, but inward is difficult to take the breath in, and then the eyes also tends to move upward.
다 농게 다스 히바 틀네 노안 잠만 차로 히어레스 제바도 ngombal아서 바 디바체이나 센델레 되네 nga 세가 제나 코르지도 ngo 쳔보 쳔도 힌질랭 칸톤 ngan조레 nga 동레 엔다나 파데세로 스테드 게임 텐데 카오레스 세 틀라마 틀라텐데 세 쫀노 참 텐데 히어레스 gewa chen na pawo khandu suma one te di tabi khen khandu rojugi noa te charo hiores.
So as the inner sign of this dissolution, then the person have various illusions and then sees all sorts of things. So depending upon the person's action in that lifetime, so if the person was a bad person and was hunting and all sorts, so at that time, so he sees all those animals, like big animals coming to harm the person. And then if the person was a good person and did the meritorious work, so there the person sees that all the dhakas and dhakinis are coming to receive him, so that the person can be, to lead the person to the pure realm.
Ta song ita se mamen barata noa te usag noa te charhiores.
So as the secret sign of this dissolution, then the person sees the brightness like that of a flame of a bottle lamp.
Ta telin jungi terensere. Ti jele ta yenla gelona ta yulunga ta dosare yenla gelona chune ni ke ni doge migombo na yombo che lijombo ngate nyane tane temrodi tane mi ke zumiri na ya jamiri na trimir che ke ro ligi rejam tsode
so then these are how our primary energy dissolves, and then all this happens. And there are also like subsidiary or secondary energies. So when all these energies dissolves, then our five sense organs don't work. And even if they cannot see, cannot hear, and even if the person is able to see, is seeing something which is not there, so all sorts of illusions starts to come. So at that time, it's thought that our consciousness dissolves into the space element. So that is the stage where a person pass away.
Tomune se lobru dikhirom penna puri jawana kol tomon che mara jelle da jalle tinya sene truthara te indi tata nende he gidre cheresena chibi ta te hole hena tene donga te tem hiora ta hindore ta donga ma tu rosa chemare phamba chemare chen zamblen ji jodja ona te di khapkudi chi khoji amar khakili po shorere 전 zamble jaka thomi jabo yenna yopo khachi thungoya mare o tereten phenje geware node deba matu ten phenne chutrumaya zamble cho jayenna dashe khaji bukhiya mare te kasole ten di tana hena tanga khire ta tena ore ten danga tena padol drote hiya.
So these signs are not that it is so this is how it is explained in the text, and this sequence happens to a normal person who have all these elements and then all in a proper proportion, and then when such person pass away, so this is the sequence in general, and then depending upon the various elements and energy a person has, so this sequence can be different to different individuals. For some, suppose if someone is being killed by a shot of a gun, so then so the person don't have all these experiences. So whatever be the case, the main purpose of teaching all these signs is now, so when we see these signs, so the person feel for sure that the death is coming very near, death is near, and then at that time, so these signs helps the practitioners to remind the instructions that are given by the masters. So this is the main reason why all these signs are taught. And then, so at that moment, the only thing that can help is all the meritorious work that one has done, and the only harm that can come is because of the negative karma that a person have accumulated. So like even at that time, suppose the person is the king of this whole universe, so there he cannot have any summon any servant or command any servant to come with him or for his assistance. So there the main purpose of teaching all these signs is to make the practitioner aware that the death is certain and it is very near, and this helps the practitioner to remember all the instructions.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Then it no town have a check here. Town here, no good, no check here. Then no Chara Mumbai, Chiritsana, Umagi Yane, Norena, Taluzumana Kakura, Yanele, Lepanoni, then a pallet to become Tomakabo, you get hung number Chera. They don't should be Tenlun to Wolunse. They don't should be Jankete, Umilanama Tulnapa here is.
So then, so this is how our outer energy or the outer wind sees, but still the person still has the inner wind still existing there. So here, how this when our inner energy or the wing sees. So there are different ways of interpreting, and there are different inner energy, like the gross inner energy and the subtle inner energy. So what here is doing is now when the energy of the upper part of our body cease. So at that time, then we have the central channel, and those who have learned the Zalung practice know that the central channel, so at the top of the central channel, so there is a hung syllable which represents the essential fluid of that is derived mainly from the father's parental factors. So there, so that tends to fall down.
That the toss wrong and no one, no, Dawa Hashu tendency, Galanchar. The Janke, Dan Yomamba Toso, Rongi Jachi Toba, Seretino, Hiadongi Toba, such a Sosun Gardros.
So when at that time, the person feels that the white beam of light that is there, like the beam or the light of the moon, so that is called the white path. And then, so in generally, all our conceptions or the thoughts, precepts is said that there are 80 of them. And then here, there are, during this state is said that at that time, there are the 33 conceptions associated with the anger cease.
Tijele, Teole, then Male to be Toma Marbor. That I hate and a Tamo Chu change, the Rajo here, Talunko Zoducham. The long the Wolunke Chandler Shurun here is. The Janke, no Amalama Charon here is.
So then, like from the mother's side, then we also have the essence that at down a little below our navel, so in the form of white red rum. So then our lower energy so like comes up, swells up, and then so at that time, then a person sees a red light.
Oh yeah, that Tin ka malang chai ka jail in Raja ki topa yit thambanga.
So when this the red beams or the path appears, so there the 40 conceptions associated with desire cease.
Ti jail ta chalje jelung sem te ke ta na hi sen ripate de passion shongsen kamarji pale ten na hi te thunne ten no no lamba jingone temu ki topa dunga re here is.
So then when this the white essential drop and the red essential drop comes at our heart, so then our consciousness also is trapped inside this, and then the charjet kilung or the energy of the volatile energy, I think it can that also cease, and then at that moment so a person experience the darkness there, and at the 7 conceptions associated with ignorance also cease at that time.
Timu ki topa dunga ne ta te ke ro yi ja chi topa ngan te ka se ta na hi thum se japidra here.
So at that time, the 80 different conceptions all cease, and then so people is like in the state of like there's nothing. It's like a fainted state.
Ta jalle yar chi se undi te roji ja chi to banga chadi ka tel mo hena tene usar nangka la ten se de usar nangka la ten se tara chere sena kada chi gu usar sena ta yi usar sena trimej nangka ya ta ba chi sanchen thang je le cha khi yores ta nyangla yong khen da ka tel dum ma bun je ne te ka so song je ro yores.
So when the person is in a now like a fainted state, so when that from that time, so again when our consciousness arises, so at that moment, so there is a luminous clarity like that of a space. So as all the sentient beings have this the primordial nature, so we all have this, and then a practitioner who have already recognized the true nature of our mind or the Rigpa, so there the practitioner is able to recognize when this Rigpa arises, and then it's like it's called the meeting of the mother and the son. So here, so when this meeting of the mother and son happens to this practitioner, so the practitioner becomes enlightened at that moment.
Tegas royi jaji toto linga tsares kada yi cheko ne khayore te rongwa he na teke tene son jese dek junsen teres te manche ki tene son jana padona manche ki padona chaj mer.
So then, so here, why a practitioner is called enlightened is because in this state, all these 80 conceptions, the natural conception is brought to complete cessation, and then at that time, the primordial nature or the Dharmakaya is revealed outside. So if a person is able to sustain this pure quality. So that's why it's called a person is called enlightened. And if a person is able to do so, then a person is enlightened, and the other bardos that follows doesn't appear to such person practitioners.
Tang ngoma she nyanglen ta mena, tene lota che mare ya te chakra chi ke me pidro here te pado khaona te padu dangana gires.
So those practitioners who don't have this pit instruction on the nature of our mind, so when this comes, so the other beings are not able to recognize this primordial nature, so there is nothing much we can do. So to this person, then the other state of bardo appearances follows.
Ta tang tikasle trauma thona no he nankala thon sene tene nu thuge chendro here tedi lidon sanjin dramatic nabe chendro here ti tate nabudo sonlane tene karcha do marcha ge thoma phajundu do tendre jore sta.
So then, so at that time, then the real separation of the consciousness and our body happens. So as the outer sign of this separation of our body and the consciousness, then either from our lower orifice or from our mouth and nose, some kind of secretion comes out.
O tere te indi riba hinkane tani do jongyani jishe meta nankana yarata do. Then lipo don't try. Ta teika sole ripa rong noa don sena. Tar sena ti rong noa te padona charong here is.
So at that time, then our Rigpa, the nature of our mind or the awareness, so then goes out from our body through our eyes, and at that moment, then there can be various display of this Rigpa.
Penna Helle Nimama Puna Chen Janism the Jago Kajamare Nimi Chen Sharon then we were not ShiTro here Petedo Yona Pumba Chow the Pumbi Kajamamet the Jan Riunra then to say Lipo Gijadon Lipo don't Tranayon the wrong and who you padote the Chow here Jerison Mi Yapan was there Carbo Jetapa Tapan was the Kalateva cat Mi Yamba can know name. Was there marble tombani har?
So then, so at that time, so that there is the main separation, and so then all this Bardo state comes, and then so there from our right eyes, then we see a very bright white colored light. And from our left eye, then we see the red light. So all these illusions or the display are from the Rigpa itself.
Tele minchitar sena durjet sembi natha. Tuji jujitaba se minta here. Tiwa teni ke supa yana taba chonga tadunan kitchen supa tenda chahiris.
So this is called the rope or the chain of Vajrasattva, or the compassionate change of Vajrasattva. So this true light goes up in the sky like a long rope that's going up in the sky.
Tate ngoshin kayon nyamsul ngoshinane tikaslo yarj sunthara sene tikaslo trolne tashinche pado mere ina tate ngomahi senchen tanjil tendra ozete chakin yorete ten ngomahire ngomahina ten onteru jema ore pado jema ore.
So at that time also there is another chance of getting liberated. So when it's called Yargi Zangtel or the upward translucence. So here, the person, when is able to see that this is the display of the Rigpa itself, so then by recognizing this, and there is another chance of being liberated completely. And then if the practitioner or the person is not able to recognize at this time, then again the next Bardo state comes.
Chinduresana shi sado ridra zihin nautsara tando shi nuwa tanche injurbidra here injursana manondra here jin nuresana non chi yu sarjin nuwa taupa nure hinkang number taupa nure chawu saur hin tsirwa chondong do demba chare chongo sheze nyangawa tabu jo chare tena nuwa tochi Nonga chaldu Gyatso jigichu me se don du tendreki noa tenjiten chalnong tanje noa chavi noa chicharon here is.
So at that time, then it said the sky or the space again dissolves into luminosity. So that there what the basically is now all the outer appearances of this the hills, the mountains, and whatever we see around, so that dissolves and entirely, and then from that the pure form qualities like all the Buddha fields and all this display can be seen or experienced at that time. And then there can be like vast ocean that is like vibrating, or such kind of experience can be seen during that time.
Then chare liyo mare nuaya mare te mebala yopata du nune chan ngoma hise chundu here is. Then ngo hina deikasula dondore.
So at that time also all this display, the all form of now pure form of display. So there also again another chance of being liberated is now again we must be able to see that this is also a display of this Rigpa, and then if we are able to see that it is none other than the mind or the nature of our mind itself. So again there is a chance of being liberated.
Ngoma hena o sar sunjula ten seju. Then hitru chenko no here is.
So then if the person is not able to recognize in this state, then it is called this luminosity dissolves in the non-dual nature. So at that time, then all this the display of the peaceful and the wrathful deities comes.
Thoma chugu che chung chung ra men ra. Then to ngonye che taozi tangzhe che shung la su bin ngonye che. Then log balon chanjan ra men ra thong khen. Ta tena ke jennon char, tennon char. Then wazan ra men ra wazan sel na chanja ki namba ke lipolo phunno char, donno char. Then re
So first the wrathful deities appears. So when the wrathful deities appears, so there can be various forms of wrathful deities. So they can have various head of various kinds of animals, and then they can also have in their hands various weapons, all kinds of weapons, and then there will be light and all these projections, and the light and all this will also be seen in the form of a weapon or something which can harm us. So such kind of experience can be seen.
Pelna tendre chen chini ji rongzha nru tongcha chi ti ji le kharwa choba tabu ki dra wong je re. Tani di nong ne jo so sung hyo la so bi noa ke. Tani wo ken ji res, dra ken hong res, ser ken chwa res.
So at that time, then so like in when we have rain, so there we have the thunderstorm. So likewise, so there is called the sound of the Dharma Dhatu. So this sound of the Dharma Dhatu can be very loud, as like thousand of the thunder sound like coming at a time. So then it will be very loud, and then the brightness will be very bright, and then again the sparkles there will be also very bright. So in this way, then the person will feel very frightened.
Tere tene ngo he na ne rongi lipo ge lila tamba rija te di pasha te ke no he ores li ma re te na tene ngo he na dra thang chi chini je rong dra wo thang chi chini je rong we ser thang chi chini je rong se rong no yin ba ngo he ne tene nya ya she na ne di kala tro jores.
So at that time we don't have this physical body, but because of the karmic imprint, or the primordially existing or abiding Rattle deities are manifested outward. So if we are able to recognize this and see this, so there is also another chance where a being can be liberated. So there we must be able to see that any sound that we hear is the sound of the ultimate truth, or the Dharma Dhatu, that any way or the light that is like more, I think, not very bright. So that also we must be able to see that all this light is also the light of the Dharma Dhatu, or the ultimate truth. And then the Ser is now more brilliant. The light, when the more brilliant part is called Ser. So we must also be able to see that this Ser is also the brightness of the Dharma Dhatu itself. So if we are able to see everything that is the display of the Dharma Dhatu itself, so there is another chance of being liberated.
Take us Dolma to Moma Hina. Tenu Noa Tele Santenji Hanga Se Hanga Sena Mi Hal Semare Noa Te Chavi Yenchite Nena Secret Dabuchi Yemanduna Tele Hachi Tzikin or the Tendration Hanga Tapena Wazirka Ser Mar John Tenka Muchichi Tiledon. Tile Tinchen Chinchun Chong Mepa, Di Yun Tenale, Daka Tombo, Le Number Hunze Yayum, Cordon Chepa the Caron Juris.
So then afterwards is called that this there will be the display of like in the peaceful deities, or the deities like 5 days. So or the here the days is not counted according to like the hours or the 24 hours. So here the day is called the Samten Gishap. So Samten is like this Samadhi, and Shak is the days. It's called Samadhi days. So it's like the instant or it's the duration of how long this each display exists. So each change of this display is called 1 day. So there can be 5 such display, and then at that time the practitioner can see the light, like the white light, the yellow light, green, blue, and all these 5 colors light will come out. And then in the first display or the first day of this Samadhi, so the number Nangze will come up, or Vairochana Buddha can be seen.
Hyanyimba le Misheba Yan Kordo Chepa, Tata Tidan Rogi Muchunoni, Mishe Yan Koche, Hyamachi Chari, Hyachi Senpena, Chutsuchi. Nena tele Hamachi. Segal Dabi Nena tela Hamachi.
So this the day or the here is depending upon how this projection lasts. So it can be a flip of a finger, or it can be many hours. So then in the first state or the first day, what is seen is now Buddha Vairocana, number Nangze and his consort is seen. And in the second day is seen the Michepa or Akshobhya. So Buddha Akshobhya with his consort is seen in the second display.
Tanghamate do Tarang, Shema, when you mature till it in on the change on the Ion Kodon Chepa, Shares.
So the third display will be the Rinchen Jungden, Rinchen Jungden with his consort.
Oh, Tene, DJ, on no Ion Kodon Chepa, Hamanota, Shares.
So in this rainbow light, then the fourth will be the Buddha Navathai or Amitabha.
DJ, Toyota by Ion Kodon Chepa, Shares.
So the fifth one will be Duyentrupa or Amoga Siddhi.
Tatele, Yinkase, Nanatele, Kamare Tripi, Teni Java Ringa Chatare, Teni Kawa Trupa, Ringa Chaton Yonzo. We no she can Dorsens, Lone Rechange on there. Nudin no Atai, Shon the Tayo Trupa, Yayo, Tonko Chepa, Shares.
So then these are the 5 days or the 5 moments, and then on the sixth display will be the sixth Buddha family with their respective directions.
Oya teni ti jale goa yayo, tuba tru, kunzon yayon do chepa, tando longku, hiwila, yichu heni, rongi, hinga noni ya tenne, shirtain hoa te chandi hiores.
So in brief, then all the 6 Buddha families, and then there will be all the 4 guardians, and in short, all the 42 peaceful deities that will be projected from our heart.
Oh yeah, tene rongi lite on, wedi litabu, team hinga ton, tene la. Utu hiwi la yon zoji tukale wazer nga kasema jonga ke seji tapa teni patu nrendu no atabu chichang hiores.
So at that time, then we will also have the illusion of like our body is also like a luminous heap of light, and then all these 5 Buddha families is also projected out, and then we will also see that the light rays is there, like the rainbow lights is there at the heart of these 5 Buddha families, and then also we will see the interlink between our body and these 5 Buddha families.
Oh yeah, ta o tidele pad ne sul jidanga yore tichere sena tombo rongi ripa tide phal trojte de ripa ola phanjus ta jemale ozerte rongi hinga thurthi no ate tendre khajores.
So there are 3 crucial points. So at that time, then we it's like. Is display into ourselves.
Tanje rongi no ayamba ngohi sena deika sel turhi ores nyambara yashi ta lami danga te sanon trense tanje ron noi lona me tendenji no akhanna deika so toje so.
So if we are able to keep all the instructions of our Lama and then see that every display is our self-display and then the self-projection, and able to meditate in this state, so at that time also there is a chance of liberating.
Oh yeah, then na thanjenge sejitlo amati chini padu no chega padu khane chini hitu padu sejiti dangana hendi here. So
this the Bardo is called the Chönitki Bardo, or the Bardo of the Dharma Dhatu, where all these stages that Rinpoche was explaining. So there is no distinctions. So to all sentient beings, so this display can happen to everyone.
하죠 디제인 나오 참말했어.
He said that again there are some beings who have committed lots of heinous karma. So then to those person is difficult to.
제레서나 현도 디제인나 마르지 손탈세네 우첼레 도냐와셀레 디냐에 디바지 디바드노아 찰롱에 말했어. 제레서나 그 디바 하춘치 있더레스.
So that's called the. So if such a person with lots of this like heinous karma is committed, so then he said that right after the death, so his this consciousness don't get time to all for this display. So the person is directly born to the hell realm, and that's called the the lower transition, where a person is directly born to the hell realms.
다는 다다 뭐 해나 어떻게 저래 어떻게 해지 디토래 기초 플라난지가 뭐 해나 그때 마이드나 되노 성지에 힐 턴스네 히 예절진노아 지차죠레스.
So then when we are able to, if we are able to recognize all these displays, then there won't be the following appearances, so all will be liberated. So then if the being is not able to liberate at that time, then it said that this wisdom also again dissolves into the non-duality. And at that time, so again there can be many projections.
다 이게 기존노아 텔레 돌지셈비 콘생글랑스레 진짜 가져르세나 롱긴 hin가네 어제 차우지